The Shark Deck.
Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. John Mulaney's first stand-up special in 5 years, doing really well on Netflix, so streaming ratings are delayed a little bit. This is for the week of April 24th through the 30th. No, I didn't record this a month ago. That's just how long it takes them to put these out. John Mulaney's Baby J gathered 379 million minutes of viewing that first week. It ranked 10th among original series. It's the second stand-up special to make the Nielsen streaming rankings this year after Chris Rock's special. Chris Rock's special had 418 minutes his first week, although that was in 36 hours because that came out on a Saturday, so Saturday and Sunday. Mulaney had a couple more days that week. That following week, Rock had 798 million minutes, so we can compare those two. In case you're curious what else does well, The Diplomat was the #1 overall title that week. And over on Apple TV, Ted Lasso had a series high, growing to 795 million minutes of viewing. John, you never talk about Bert Kreischer. I know, right? He spoke to the LA Times about Mark Hamill playing his dad, and they were curious about their chemistry. Bert said, our first week of working together was on Zoom during the pandemic. We started talking about the movie. The first thing he said was, why do you perform with your shirt off? Couldn't you wear a nice collared shirt or a blazer? And my dad says that to this day. Mark was my dad through the whole movie, even off camera. I remember one time asking Mark for parenting advice, and he gave me advice, and that night I was on the phone with my dad, and he gave the exact same advice Mark Hamill did. He talked a little more about doing his own stunts. He said, anytime they were like, we're going to need you to do like a flying double kick, or we can have a stuntman do it. And Bert was like, no, I can do it. I was really good at that. I think it's because I grew up in Florida and we all practiced professional wrestling growing up. I did way more of putting my body in harm's stuff than I thought I would do. And then the stuff I thought I'd be good at, like the fight scenes, that took a lot of work and memorizing it right because it's a fight sequence. Just memorizing the choreography. It's hard. If you don't do it correctly, you can punch people's faces, which I did a lot. In all the fight scenes, I punched someone. I paid the piper when I got home. I went to get an MRI, and they're like, you ruptured all your tendons. You need surgery. So I did the surgery, and then I sold out a show at Red Rocks in Colorado. What are you going to do? Mark Hamill told TheMusic.com, there's no off switch with Bert. He's so genuine and so authentic. It's not like he created a character, and he's very much different on stage. What you see is what you get. And I think that's what's so appealing about it. He just has an exuberance that's infectious. So Bert tells the story as co-lead in the film, Iva Babick. She's from the Eastern Bloc, and she has never seen Star Wars. She says to me, I've never seen Star Wars. Don't bring it up. Bert goes, really? And she goes, yeah, I don't want to be embarrassed. So we sit down for dinner, and I go, hey, you're a big Star Wars fan, right? And she goes, I love it. It's such a wonderful film. And Mark Hamill goes, what did you like about it? And she goes, typical good guy, bad guy thing. Bert goes, what's your favorite character in Star Wars? She says, Chewbacca. And then he says to her, can you do an impression of Chewbacca? And she goes, of course. And in a weird, gravelly voice goes, I am Chewbacca. Mark Hamill goes, you've never seen the movie, have you? The Smartless guys have a documentary streaming on Max. Hey, Max people, put the HBO back. Max just looks like dime store streaming service. It just looks so cheap. You've watered it down with crap. But not crap is Smartless on the Road, a limited series currently streaming. It was directed by Sam Jones, and he follows the Smartless guys as they travel across the country to Boston, Brooklyn, D.C., Chicago, Wisconsin, and L.A. How to come about? Sam Jones says, Jason asked me if he thought there was a documentary. I kind of pitched them with the trust me enough and give me a key to your hotel rooms. I asked if they'd stay in the same hotel and travel together and not have a big crowd of people with them. If they could let me have access at all times, I think it'd be really cool because it'd be like we're on the road together, and they agreed to it. I think they're all such brilliant comedians. They're all very open to being themselves. That was the thing, whether the camera's on them or not. Those are the guys. They did have some questions before showing to them, wondering if they'd want me to cut things they felt were too personal when they're not in the public, but they wanted to be transparent as possible. They have minds that are quick enough to find the humor without prepping anything. Ricky Gervais has directed his first BBC project in a decade. Ricky has directed 7 Minutes, a show about two people awkwardly contemplating suicide. The description, a desolate train track, seems the perfect spot to end it all, until someone else turns up with the same idea. Awkward. The head of BBC Comedy, John Petrie, he's spending the year identifying, quote, a package of measures that industry, government, and regulators can come together on to safeguard comedy's future. He says comedy producers remain concerned about the rising costs of making comedy for TV. As the chief corporate clown in TV comedy, I feel a huge sense of responsibility to help try and protect our incredible genre.
Do you love your Peloton?
Oh, I sure do.
Well, I know you do because you started a podcast about one. If you love your Peloton and can't get enough of it and all the news that goes along with it, you should check out our show. It's called The Clip Out. It's a great place to go for instructor news, new classes, motivational tips, corporate machination.
We don't just tell you the news, we also give you our thoughts on why things are happening. And each week we also interview a member of the Peloton community. Sometimes it's, somebody like like me, just a regular person riding their bike.
Sometimes it's snooking.
You never know.
You never know.
The Clip Out is about anyone who loves their Peloton.
Every week we take you behind the scenes and inside the world of Peloton. The Clip Out is available wherever you get your podcasts, or check out our website,
theclipout.com.
From TMZ, Congressman Adam Schiff tries his hand at live stand-up comedy once a year. I had no idea. He was working on a set at the LA Improv. That one, hosting a fundraiser, introducing professional comics, and he likes to mix in a few jokes of his own. He says he's performed full stand-up acts at his annual fundraiser in the past, usually writing his own jokes during a cross-country flight. Keep an eye on that one. Roy Wood Jr. remembers his first set. He said, I had a joke. I was about 19, and I was mad because my roommate would eat some of my food, but not all of it. That joke, eat all of it if you're going to eat it. I had a 7-Up. He drank 6 of them. I had a 1-Up. He said in 1998, that's what I had. It was the best I could do. This is interesting. He got a journalism degree from Florida A&M, but he said it fiscally made more sense to continue comedy after college than pursue a straight-up career in journalism. My love was print, but print didn't pay. I had 2 print offers for $14,000, but my projections for stand-up, I was going to make 17 that year, 22 the next year, and the second year I wound up making 27. He says, I'm a stand-up, but also within my jokes, I'm trying to inform you. I'm trying to give you new information. I'm trying to give you a different way of looking at something, and at its core to me, that's what journalism is. New Jersey stand-up Emily Page recently found out that her ex-boyfriend has been stealing her tweets and kind of tweaking them a little bit and then passing them off as his own jokes months after she originally posted them. Emily tweeted side-by-side screenshots of the original jokes and their knockoffs in an attempt to reclaim custody of her comedy. Wow. And from the New York Post, a comedian has ignited a debate over the best karaoke songs to perform. Ben Brainerd has 3 million TikTok followers. He says, if you don't know what makes a good karaoke song, that's fine. I'm here, and I'm objectively correct when I say these things. He didn't name the songs in any particular order, but he did name some songs. He said, one of those songs, Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone, obviously. Also, Aretha Franklin's Respect. He calls it a great song, even better karaoke. The next one up, one of my favorites, but I don't know how people do this one because what the heck are the lyrics? I know you think you know the lyrics, but think about it. Do you? Dexy's Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen. Now, I know you think you know the song. Here, I'll do it for you. All right, poor old Johnny Ray. You've got that line. Sounded sad upon the radio, moved a million hearts in mono. You don't know that line. Next one, Our Mothers Cried. Sang along, who'd blame them? But I'm sure the end of that song is very good. Okay, next one up. Weezer's Island in the Sun. It's kind of I love Weezer. That's kind of a flat song. Is that a good karaoke song? See, he's got me doing it now. And the most controversial song he listed, REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It. He said, listen to me, if you get on a stage with a mic in your hand and you don't know every word, the audience is going to find it the worst thing they've ever heard in their lives. No saving it. All right, social media users chimed in. I know you're thinking about the list. One said, how about the I Would Walk 500 Miles song? That's a good one. Sweet Caroline, kind of hacky. Mr. Brightside, Piano Man, Living on a Prayer. And one commenter said, any song by Weird Al is a good karaoke song. Even better if you choose the song it's a parody of, but still sing Weird Al's lyrics. And that's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. Hey, tell me your list. Jump in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Why not? Something to talk about. See you tomorrow. Can I interest you in some meatballs made out of mammoth meat? No? All right, hi, I'm Johnny Mack, host of 5 Good News Stories. It's a twice-a-week podcast where I share some upbeat stories like the dog who only will respond to commands if you use an Irish brogue. Or what about the guy who's filling potholes with noodles? Or the woman who, congratulations, she passed her driver's license. Oh, by the way, it was her 960th try. You heard me correctly. It's 5 Good News Stories. Nice, easy way to start your morning. 5 Good News Stories. The number 5 Good News Stories, wherever you get your podcasts.